right, welcome back to another episode of the Hoggie Shuffle. This is a show where we live in the trenches, we talk real football, break the game down from a coach's point of view. In today's episode, it's all about growth. Growth as a player, growth as a coach, growth as a football mind going into the next season. And so, big topic we're going to hit on today is off-season training. How to actually separate yourself from average players. You know, spotlight two of the most dominant defensive linemen in football, calling out some officiating and nonsense, and breaking down some matchups. Close it out, as always, with a true legend of the edge position. Let's get at it. Always introducing ourselves here. I'm Preston. We got my brother here, Robbie.
Hey, guys.
As you can tell, we're always repping our teams. Always. Go Birds.
Go toilet bowl. Go toilet bowl.
Hey, all I know is Dallas sucks, and that makes me happy.
Hey, for me, you can hate Dallas all you want, but seeing KC not making the playoffs, for me, that was a good Christmas present.
Oh, always. But I'll tell you, I hear a lot of talking smack from Dallas after the Eagles-Dallas game where they were going to go to the playoffs, they were going to do this, they were going to do that, and they did absolutely nothing. As usual.
Squat.
Imagine being in the position where you're paying your quarterback $60 million a season for him to win 2 playoff games his whole career. Wild. Like, you'd better off grabbing a guy, CFL, grabbing a guy off the goddamn street. And at least you go in there, wouldn't cost you $60 million, and you'd probably win the same amount of games.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, geez, just draft a young guy. I mean, it's not like your offense is that hard. You got all the weapons around him. Jeepers creepers.
And don't get me wrong, that guy had a hell of a season this year. But when you don't put a proper team around him and you don't have a proper owner or organization that's going to actually support and make a team and you just pay your quarterback, nothing's going to ever happen.
It's very true.
Like, you could have all the offensive yards you want, but if your defense can't stop shit, what are you going to do? Nothing. Lost to what did they lose to the Vikings?
Right.
To the Vikings?
Speaking of Vikings, what a gross game that was.
That was pretty nasty. That defense, what did they have? Did the offense have 6 yards?
They had 3 net passing yards.
3 net passing yards, sorry.
3
That's
net
crazy.
passing yards.
Crazy. Enough about that. We'll keep talking, but we're rolling to Coach's Corner here, as usual. You know, we always like to talk about something that involves, we can talk about coaches and players and just something that overall brings our little football community a little tighter, a little better together, especially, obviously, talking about the linemen here. But, this one's talking about off-season training and becoming a great player. So, and this goes down for I don't care what league you're playing in, if you're a bantam player, a high school player, a university college player, damn, even professional players. Great players are built in the off season and not during the season. So when you're going out and you're trying to weightlift during the season, do all these things, it's too late. You've missed the mark. You've missed that part of it. You need to do that stuff when nobody's watching. You need to do that stuff in the whole off season and train like you're going to the league. Train as hard as you've ever trained before, because I promise you that's what makes the difference going to the next season.
100%. A good coach once told me, I said, football or soccer or hockey, whatever it is you play, that's a 12-month sport.
100%.
It's not just, hey, we got football for 6 months here and then 6 months we got nothing. You got that whole 12 years to build you as a player.
And it's so true, man. I mean, off-season, it's where technique, strength, and mindset are developed, right? All these small little habits that you can do in the off-season are going to make your main season so much better. And you'll always see it by the time you hit like that spring training camp. You hit that spring camp and you realize that all that work you've put in and you're like, holy shit. And then you do nothing all summer. You come into main camp and you're just the same player you were the year before because you decided to take it off and go a little softer.
Well, even not just that, but the guys will go into the gym and they'll just work on the things that they're good at. So they'll just sit there and they'll just do bench press and deadlifts, and it's just like, well, maybe you should work on your jumping. Maybe you should work on getting your feet faster. Maybe you should work on your triceps and biceps and your neck, not just your chest, right? Like, there's so many things that develop into whatever spot you're playing in which sport. Like, when you really just got to break it down and say, hey, I could train a core group of muscles to make this part of my game better.
Well, and the reality of it is the best you're ever going to be is when you're uncomfortable. Something that you're not 100% on. Something that you're like, hey, my kick steps are a little soft. My first step's not that great. My push off out of my D-line stance just isn't right there yet. That's the things you need to work on. Yeah, everything else will come in place. Everything else will always work itself out. It makes the biggest difference ever when you focus on the little things instead of focusing on the big things. Focus on every little thing you can possibly do, and all of a sudden the big things just fall in place like dominoes. And I'll tell you, like, this is where, like I said, this is where habits are created, good or bad. So you can choose how you want to be in the offseason. If you want to do nothing and you want to just ride out your high school seasons and, show up and be that guy during the season, but never actually in the offseason doing anything, what do you think is going to happen? You're never going to get that starting role. You're going to always be the kid whining and whining and whining. Why I'm not getting playing time? Why am I not the guy? Why does coach not look at me? Why does this happen? Because you aren't giving it your all. I've seen so many kids go through the program on both sides of that fence. I've seen kids that, grade 10, they were but by grade 11 and 12, they were monsters because they worked their ass off. And I've also seen kids that had all the potential in the world in grade 10 and do absolutely nothing in the off seasons those next 2 years. And by grade 12, they're still riding the bench or they're still riding that 6-man role because they didn't work hard enough to get over that hump, get over that peak, and become the monster they could have been.
Like they always say, non-specific sports training will always be the best things to do in the off season. Like I said, don't just work on what you're good at. Work on what you're bad at.
Oh, 100%, man. Like, for example, if you are a multi-sport athlete, right? If you go into as a lineman, if you go in to take wrestling, I guarantee you your hip and your core strength and your stability are going to be better than 90% of the kids out there that aren't doing that other sport.
100%.
Because, again, even if they were training the whole offseason, they weren't training those specific things that you're training because you're doing a different sport. Basketball is another great one. I always say this, and I truly, truly believe it. Basketball defense translates 100% into offensive line footwork. So if you can guard in basketball, you can play offensive line. It's as simple as that.
100%.
And I'll tell you this, everybody looks similar during the season, but the offseason is where separation happens. And that separation comes down to, like I just said, is who wants to be the dog. And players, I'm going to tell you this right now, train with purpose. Don't just do a random ass hard workouts. Talk to your coach. See the things you can do to get better. They've watched you. They know what you're doing. They know all the areas where you can focus on your strength and explosion, your mobility and durability, position specific work. If you're a receiver, work on those hands, work on that footwork. You're a running back, work on that explosion. You're a lineman, work on those first steps and those hip and power punches. Get that medicine ball out. And accountability matters. The best players do the work when no one's watching. Be coachable. Seek feedback and ask questions always, 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 always. Now I'm going to flip the script a little bit here too, because it comes down to a solid football team has two main parts. It has the players, it has the coaches. And I'll tell you this right now, if coaches don't do anything in the offseason to get better, you're never going to see better results out of that. If you think that you're going to come out the next season after having a mediocre season and do the same thing you did last year, nothing is going to change. It's going to be the same result, even if you have a whole new crop of kids, because you're not getting better. You're not developing your mind and understanding the game at that next level. So if you want better players, you need to be a better coach. Attend coaches clinics, learn new drills, teach progressions, always find better ways to communicate. And the biggest thing that some coaches don't want to do, and they think it's like taboo or they can't do it, is stealing ideas, man.
Oh, buddy,
the best coaches in the world do that. The best coaches in the world steal ideas from good coaches, apply them to your programs, right? And you can attest this. I know you did it all the time when you were coaching me. You go to these coaching clinics. I've done the same thing. And you're like, oh, damn, that's a good idea. I'm going to use that now. That's going to be my new mantra. I had one.
All wrong this whole time.
And exactly. And you just change those little things. Like I had a coach with me this season where I developed a whole defense in the bantam side of it based off of just the things he would say and the things he would do. And it really got to me. I'm like, you know what? I'm taking that. I'm going to do it. I'll give him credit for it, but I'm taking it. I'm 100% I am. And the same thing goes players and coaches. Like, it's so important, guys. Growth does not stop when the season ends. If you decide as a coach that as soon as that season's over, you're done. You're not picking it up till spring camp starts again. I guarantee you, nothing is going to change. You will be in the same spot you were last year, no better than you were when you were either winning all the games or losing all the games. And again, if you're winning all the games, and all of a sudden there's other coaches that are constantly working to get better and do those things, guess what they're at? Now they're here. Now, if you didn't get any better, all of a sudden they're here now. And you're still here because you decided that, hey, my shit's working. I'm not going to train anymore. I know what I'm doing. I'm smarter than these guys. They're always working to get better. You got to constantly climb that ladder. You have to.
And coaches, get in the gym with you guys. And I'm not saying sit in there and you have to work out with them, whatever, but be a presence in that gym. Be a presence in that locker room. Like, show the guys that you're there just as much as they're there. You're watching them. You're holding them accountable. You're making sure they're doing the things they need to be doing. Give them a workout plan. Give them an eating plan. Like, I'm not saying send your kids on a diet, but, just give them the info that they need to know what they need to be eating to make sure they're eating properly.
So the biggest takeaway from this, guys, is you can't demand growth from your players if you're not willing to grow yourself.
Straight up.
That's just the truth of it. And that's Coach's Corner.
There we go.
So now we're going to roll into our big guy spotlight here. And this is a guy that, honestly, I haven't been watching him all season, but I'll tell you, at least since the Bills game, this guy's been on my radar. I've been watching this team like crazy. I've been in their corner. I'm a diehard Eagles fan, but I'll tell you what, for the AFC side, this is the team that I wanted to win out. This is the team that I said, you know what? If they can figure it out, they get CJ Stroud back, this could be a dangerous team. I've been saying it for about 6 weeks now, and I will live and die on the hill that I really, truly believe this team's going to be a solid presence in the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to win it all. I really don't. But I'll tell you what, they ain't going to go out without a fight, and they're going to keep on pounding because that defensive line is absolutely nasty. And it's all starting at the helm from Will Anderson Jr. Houston Texans right now, I'm telling you what. Now, again, this is not going to include his stats today because I have to update it and obviously like that. But going into today's game, he had 11 and a half sacks. I know for a fact he got one more, so we can up that to 12 and a half now because I watched the game. I seen him get a sack. And that's a career high for the guy. And you're talking about these guys that are breaking records and always think that's a great season. 12 sacks a season. I mean, gosh darn. And he's got around 46 pressures, which again is more now. It's probably closer to 50. 17 tackles for a loss. Again, another career high for him. And why he matters. Why this guy is being just a dog. He has relentless motor every snap. He wins with technique and effort, not just athleticism. And you'll truly see it when you watch his first step come out and he breaks that edge coming across, man. It is like poetry in motion. It's like watching an absolute man finesse a young boy. Like, it is ridiculous. He is going through and just absolutely kicking ass out there. He sets a tone for Houston's defense. He's playing like a franchise cornerstone defensive lineman. And his career accomplishments so far, he's been a Pro Bowl selection. He's been a team defensive leader by year 2. He's been a monster. He's been a defensive leader on that team since year 2.
Wow.
And NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year finalist. Now, he didn't win it, but he was a finalist. And that just shows you the work and the effort this guy's putting in. There's constantly being a force. And I guarantee you in the next 2 to 3 years here, you're going to keep hearing this guy's name. You're going to keep understanding that Will Anderson is an absolute dog. Do you want to do the next guy?
I would love to do the next guy because this guy, in my eyes, is probably the best player, let alone defensive player in the league. Like, I know we talk about quarterbacks and we talk about a lot of things, but there was a guy that held this record for a long time. And he was touted as the best defensive player for a long time. And this guy is better than that guy. My guy is Myles Garrett, about to break the record. And I think he might even put a couple extra in this week to, bump that level up. But just his 2025, 14 games, 25 and a half sacks. It should be over already. One of those sacks was a half sack last week. It should have counted. It definitely should have counted.
100%.
But, the guy's got 35 quarterback hits and pressures just this year. 35. Absolutely gross. He's still the most dominant edge rusher in football right now. Doesn't matter what team you look at.
Might be all time. I'm saying all time. I'm sorry. He's,
as I said,
and I've said it before on this podcast. In my opinion, he's the best defensive lineman of all time.
There was one thing that the great Lawrence Taylor held, and he had a record for 6 games. Was it 6 games? Had at least sack in 6 games straight 12 sacks in a season for 6 games straight, or 6 seasons straight. Ugh. Excuse my language. So Myles Garrett absolutely beat that this year. He's on to his 7th season with at least 12 sacks in a season. So next year you'll see him bust that out. You can't block this guy. Double teams, triple teams, he's still coming at you. He wreck your game no matter what. He constantly studies. He knows what he wants to do. He's going to get to you every time. And let's be honest, the dude can just take over a game at will. I think he had a game this year. He had 5 sacks. Like, it was just absolutely disgusting. NFL Defensive Player of the Year already on his resume. A couple team first All Pros. Multiple Pro Bowls, and one of the most feared defenders of any generation, let alone just his own.
Monster.
Gross.
Well, that's going to end up the big guy spotlight, guys. Again, I want to focus on defensive linemen this week. We always talk about offensive line on this podcast. Every few weeks, I like to, switch it up a little bit and give the love to the defensive line because it's something that matters. It's a big thing. I love coaching the D-line. It's one of my favorite things to do. Much as I'm an offensive line guy, they deserve the love too, just as much as the O-line guys. Next, we're going to roll into, though, is going to be flag on the play. And this one's a big controversy. I'll tell you what, this took some heat this week. Let's talk about old DK Metcalf.
I can't remember. What did you say his name was? De Jennifer or De Christmas or something like that?
Decaden, Decayon, or
It was like
something like that. I don't know.
Karen or De Ricky or some weird
At
name.
the end of the day, it's his name. And I tell you this, I know this is coming from a white dude and all this stuff, but it's now came out as facts. I've seen like 5 different videos. I don't think the dude called him any racial slurs. I really don't.
Either.
And it's really tough when you're in that situation as a professional athlete to just instantly pull that card out after you do something as stupid as grabbing a guy out of the stands and trying to punch him in the face. I mean, again, I don't even know. It doesn't look on the video that he actually did punch him. Watching that, he kind of just swings at him a little bit, motion at it. But he went for it. And I'll tell you what, to do that as a professional athlete, you're getting paid millions of dollars a year. Who gives a shit what someone calls you? And again, if he did call him a slur, terrible. I really hope if there is any sort of proof that it does come out that he did call him a slur, terrible, but he deserves to be banned for life, deserves everything he gets. But I'll tell you what, as it looks right now, it doesn't look like he did. And if it was just a scenario where all he did was call you by your legal first name, for you to react like that and lose your shit, that's not right. You're a professional athlete, man. There's kids looking up to you. There's all these people out there. Who gives a shit what some random dude in the stands that paid to be there? You're getting paid to be there. Who cares what some guy that paid to be there does?
Right? Season ticket holder.
What would that even cross your mind? Like, that's one of those things where it's like, you're up here, he's here. Who gives a shit? Like, you're a star in the NFL. You're doing all these great things out there, and you're gonna let this one guy tarnish your reputation now for the rest of your life?
$45 million.
And that's the crazy part.
One slap cost you.
Because what happens is, as most people probably read this, because it's conduct detrimental to the team, he's going to lose out on his guaranteed money now. So, not saying he might not 100% lose that. If they do decide to cut him, he loses it. But if he stays on, he keeps that. At right now, at face value, he's only going to lose about $500,000. But still, just let's talk about $500,000 because some guy pissed you off. You're making millions of dollars, and you're going to let that guy get in your head like that?
Right.
Who cares? And you look at like guys like Lamar Jackson, and this is the other part of it, where is what he's getting unfair treatment compared to a guy like Lamar Jackson when he did a very similar thing and didn't even get anything wrong with him. I think he got a fine, but I don't think he got suspended 2 games.
Well, what about Geno Smith giving the finger to the fans?
Right? It's exactly the same thing. You're out there representing this. You're playing a child's game. You're playing a kid's game. You're getting paid millions of dollars to do it. Those kids look up to you so much, and they want to be just like you. And you think that they're now going to act like that? Like, what happens when some young kid in the stands, because some parent is yipping at him saying, oh, this and this and that. And again, parents shouldn't be bad, but sometimes they are. Is it fair that kid now gets to go off the field and go and punch some guy in the face or lose his crap and then it ruins that kid's life because he wants to be just like you?
Right.
That's not right, man. So that's my flag on the play. 15 yards for both sides. That the guy's an idiot for even yipping at you. Be a grown man yipping another grown man in a freaking child's game. And the other side of it, who gives a shit, man? Who cares? You're out there making millions. Fuck a peanut. Those guys are nothing to you. Who he paid to be there? Who cares?
You should be laughing your ass off all the way to the bank.
Exactly. That's the thing. You can look at the guy and be like, fuck you, dude. I'm out here making millions. Like,
imagine what season tickets cost to the Detroit Lions.
Exactly.
Right? You're probably talking like 70, 80 grand for one seat. You know what I mean? Like, and as close as he was, maybe you've like double that. Who knows, right?
Wild.
And you know what I mean? Like, that guy's got to pay that, where you make that 10 times on a Sunday.
And the next leg on the play, we can talk about this a little more too, obviously. Rob wants to go into this one. I will talk about it too.
This one, I think that a lot of people watching this are going to understand what is going on with the refs. And I'm not talking about pushing for one team to win a game or another team to win a game. Like, the inconsistency this year of calls, of non-calls.
What's a catch? What's a catch? Right? I don't know. I don't know what a catch is anymore, because half the time they'll say one thing is a catch, half the time they'll say it's not, and they're the same gosh darn play, and it looks the same to me as a fan, and I don't understand. Right. I want to know why there isn't replays on the Lions. The Lions Steelers game? Yeah. There's no reason that's not a replay at the end to really see if that's PI. Like, you're telling me you're not even going to review it? It's the game deciding points, and you're telling me you're not going to even look at it? Like, that needs to get fixed real quick. That was ridiculous.
And two, it's the players you're getting them against. Like, you're telling me that Ramsey didn't bait that call?
100% he did,
And
dude.
you
That was an NBA level flop.
right? And you're telling me right now that 5 yards away was not a line judge, just sitting right there watching the line. He had nothing better to do because that's his job to watch the line. And he's the guy that threw the flag. And it's to say, okay, if he takes up your space and you can't move, whose fault is that?
Exactly.
Because he fell over, he got the penalty? Like, bullshit.
It's just, I don't know. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the inconsistency. They need to make it proper. They need to just be flat out. And honestly, at this point, I'm for it. Use the technology we have. We don't even need referees anymore, man. There is so much technology nowadays where there's no reason that referees are calling offsides or anything like that. They can use the technology to really see if it was an offside or not. Like, you guys always want to talk about the Eagles going offside and shit on the tush push. Cool. Let's have an actual camera sitting on the sideline watching it, and if anybody moves in that line, it's a flag. Why is that so difficult?
You can't tell me there shouldn't just be a penalty official. Okay, there's this one guy, when they had it in the freaking, what was it, the XFL, I'm not sure if it's still in there, where there's the guy up in the booth. Yep. No, that's not a penalty. Pick up the flag.
That's all it needs to be.
Just watch the video. Yeah, that was not holding. Pick up the flag. That's where that needs to go to make it a lot better. But then again, it's just like, I'm not calling anybody out, but are they making these plays just to beat the spread and to keep control of the over and under? Like, who knows what's going on these days with all the betting going on? People are even talking about it.
You look at every single ad. Every single ad when you're watching an NFL game now is a gambling ad. And then you ask yourself, you're watching the Raiders-Browns game, and they're punting on the 30-yard line, but then in the next game they play, they're kicking a 45-yard field goal in the same game scenario.
You can't tell me like that. You can't.
It just made no sense.
You'll never pass that one off on me. It's just like, why are they punting on the 30-yard line? Like, just to punt it out of the back of the end zone?
It made no sense. It just, I don't understand it. I don't understand where the stuff's coming from. And it's just started to turn into a bit of a clown show. So that's where I'm at with it.
Again, like you said, there needs to be, calls, more directly, not having a deal, not being what's upholding the detriment of the game. Like, the outcome of the game should be the outcome of the game. It shouldn't never end on a penalty. And I don't care if it's an offensive play or defensive play. It should never be allowed to end on a penalty. Never, ever, ever.
Nope.
So as I said, 15-yard penalty, maybe 30 yards. Maybe it's a double.
I think double.
Let's get this shit together because you're losing fans.
Now we're going to roll into a little thing we've been doing lately is the Matchup Mayhem.
Matchup Mayhem.
Well, we already seen it today. Obviously, we did have the Christmas Day games. They were pretty garbage. I'm not going to lie to you. I really only watched the middle one because the first and the last were pretty garbage. It wasn't really interesting at all to me.
Hey, the Chiefs did
even the
better
middle.
than anyone else thought they were going to do.
Yeah. I was hoping they'd win. I'm not going to lie. That sounds terrible, but I've been a Broncos hater all season.
Don't forget the Chiefs lost to the Titans. Say it again. The Titans.
Rough.
Wait, I think the Raiders did too. We don't have no Patrick Mahomes. I can tell you that much.
So obviously we were watching the Houston Chargers game earlier. And again, I've been advocating all season. I said it. They were going to come out. All these announcers before the game started, all these analysts were saying how Chargers are going to come out and win, and Chargers are going to do this. And all of a sudden, that first third down, you just seen that young man bomb that ball to the end zone. Twice. And I just sat there going, Now he stalled out. Don't get me wrong. He stalled out for most of the rest of the game. They had some good plays after that. But, overall, that first quarter was nasty. I'll tell you that right now. And, yeah, Houston's going to do some work. I'm telling you this. They're going to do some work. Next game, obviously, going on right now is the Baltimore-Green Bay game, and I believe this is the game of the backups, is what they were saying.
It is.
Two backup quarterbacks?
Well, it's looking good. Lamar's out, but that Huntley's looking really good for Baltimore. I think he's rushing, he's rumbling, stumbling. He scored, and I think Malik Willis had a couple nice passes. Had a really nice one down the sidelines, but he caught it while still running. It was a really nice play.
Cool. Rolling into tomorrow. Obviously, now we can actually talk about who we think is going to win games because these games aren't happening or haven't happened yet. So the first one we're going to talk about is going to be the Arizona Cardinals with the Cincinnati Bengals. Personally, I know Cincinnati hasn't been too hot this season, but they also had a backup for the majority of the season. So I think Bengals take this game. I really do. I think Arizona's got a hot defense, but at the end of the day, Joe Burrow is he's gonna push. He's gonna get some work in. He's probably gonna get sacked a few times. That's the reality of their offensive line. It's definitely on the softer side as usual. But yeah, I'd say Cincinnati's taking it 28-17.
Nice. I'm not even moving on that one. I like it. It's gonna be a shitty, crappy game to watch, but if you like defense, watch that one.
Then we're gonna have Pittsburgh Cleveland, and this is gonna be the game where he breaks the record. And the best part about it, because is Watt hurt or is Watt still in?
No, Watt's out.
That's what I thought. So Watt's gonna be on the sidelines, hopefully. I might be at home, but I hope he's on the sidelines. And I hope he gets to see Myles Garrett absolutely take this record and know that, thanks for holding my place. Thanks for holding my towel. I'm gonna grab that, and I'm not gonna tie the record. I'm gonna beat the record.
Fun fact here though. The last time the record was broken was against Brett Favre.
Ooh.
Just so you know that.
And that was a fake broken record.
Well, fake broken record. It looked like Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre fell down and gave Strahan the record, but it's here nor there.
All I'm saying is, I'm very excited to watch Pittsburgh. They're gonna beat the shit out of Cleveland. Let's be honest here.
I don't think so.
I don't know, man. Aaron Rodgers, he's pulling the discount double check out lately. I'm telling you,
I get it, but there's something about the Cleveland Browns playing Pittsburgh in the snow, and I don't know what it is, but for some reason, throughout the history of the league, usually Cleveland beats them. I'm going to take Cleveland. It's not going to be a nice game.
No, it's going to be nasty.
High score. I'm going to take it like 21-17 Cleveland.
I'm going to reverse that. I'm going 17-13 Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll have to watch the game tomorrow and we'll see. But all I know is, Aaron Rodgers is getting sacked. He better wear some extra padding. He better get prepared for that one because he's going to get sacked because Myles, he's hunting for it.
I hope he gets 3. I'd love to
It'd be cool.
I'd love to see him set their record in a high bar so no one breaks it for a long time.
That'd be cool.
For a long time.
Next game we're going to talk about is going to be the Saints-Titans game. New Orleans versus Tennessee. This is going to be one of those games that maybe catch on the red zone. I don't think it's going to be one of those amazing games. Tennessee could pull a sneaker out here and just fuck their draft chances over even more.
I think they're sitting like 5th or 6th. They got 4 wins, so
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they're if they lose, they get a better draft position. But I could see them somehow pulling a sneaky win out for some reason.
I could too. Cam Ward's going to pull together a lot for his team. Going through the season this year. I looked at them. I think they'll bounce back hard next year and have a good season. But I mean, let's be honest. The worst thing they ever did was get rid of Vrabel. And, that's on you. That's on the ownership. That's on all the above guys for even thinking Mike Vrabel was a bad coach because you can't tell me he just walks into New England and just makes it crazy because of that.
Oh, 100%, man.
Like what he's done with the New England Patriots this year is nothing but of a miracle. Like I know people are calling Drake May the Messiah, but let me tell you, he sure isn't. Yeah. I think, those scores, it's going to be a low score. I'm thinking, 21, maybe 13 if it goes to Tennessee. Now, the next game that we got to talk about is the Jaguars versus the Colts. Indy, if this would have been the Indy from 4 weeks ago with Daniel Jones, I would have easily picked Indianapolis to go for the big win, and I'd have picked them to beat the Jaguars like 42-14, 42-21. But let me tell you, Trevor Lawrence has sure flipped the script on that division and has absolutely showed up since week 8, even though week 2 or week 3 they beat Kansas City. But I'm telling you, something happened to that team, and I really think it was when the Raiders traded Jacoby Myers. Because, they gave him a $60 million contract. Like, oh, buddy, we're keeping you. You're the real deal. And Jacoby Myers was the real deal. He was such a good
He's never had a quarterback to pass to him.
He just never did. No. So I'm going to take Jacksonville 31. I'm going to take Indianapolis 17 because I don't know if Philip Rivers is still usually putting up 2 touchdowns a game, but that's once they get past that 2 touchdowns, he's got the hump.
I think you're going to see a little bit of a sneaker game this week, and I think that Indianapolis fights pretty hard for this one. This one's going to go down to a field goal. It's going to be a tight game. I'm thinking 31-28 Jacksonville. It's going to be a tight game. And I think that you're going to see Philip Rivers really throw some big passes up there because Jacksonville is a really solid offense, but their defense was lacking for sure. They're able to put points up, but they're also get scored on as well too. You've seen it in the Broncos game, right? So I really think that the Colts put up some points and see where it goes. Jacksonville by 3. Then we got.
Next we got Tampa Bay. We got Florida versus Florida. Tampa Bay versus Miami. Both teams pretty shitty this season.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's having an off season. He's pretty banged up. They didn't get that offensive line going for him. That being said, I'm still taking Tampa 21-17.
Did you see the interview with Miami's head coach there?
No.
Oh, buddy. He's like, yeah, we're working hard. Hopefully don't throw 10 picks this game, and we're going to go out there and go. So he's not very happy with old Tua at all. And I think he's getting pretty tired of him. So I think that you might be seeing a change up next year in Miami, either as the coach or as the quarterback, one of the two, because I don't think they're meshing very well anymore. I agree with you, though. I think Tampa takes this game. I'm thinking 21-17 Tampa. Nothing crazy.
Maybe don't take two in the first round, and then you could be in the conversation of a good coach. Because
he's not a great coach.
Not a great guy if you took Tua Tagovailoa in the first round. Sorry, he's a second or third round quarterback. That's where he should have went.
Next, we got Pats at the Jets. Pats have had a weird season where they've beat some pretty garbage teams. They haven't really beat anybody great. They have a decent record, but again, I don't think anyone they've beat is making the playoffs, if that's correct.
Outside of the Buffalo Bills.
Outside of the Bills, yes.
Right.
And they lost to the Raiders. Now, do I think they're going to dominate the Jets and possibly get their footing setting up here a little bit? I think so for sure. I think you're going to see Drake May go out there and drop some dimes for sure. I'm saying 24-13 New England.
I like it.
Nothing crazy. A few touchdowns and a field goal. Nothing wild. New York's going to score one. They're going to get one later, and they're going to get a field goal early and get a touchdown later in the game. That's all you're going to see. Maybe 2 field goals and a touchdown later. That's all you're going to see.
See, this next one, Seattle at Carolina.
This is going to be a good game.
I'm thinking that there's going to be a shocker this weekend. Seattle's going to get taken down a peg, and I think that Chuba's going to have a big day for the Panthers, and I think the Panthers are going to win this game.
Well, Carolina's been weird, man. They've lost to bad teams but beat good teams. It doesn't make a lot of sense. You don't understand where they're coming from in the sense of why they can do what they're doing, but they also get put in positions where they're losing to those games. I think they lost a game where they didn't score any points. But then they also reversed it and they beat the Cowboys. They beat a few other good teams where it was just like, and I know I was chirping Cowboys earlier, but I'm saying like they're offensively they've had a really great season. They have. Dak's one of the biggest passers in the league right now. Their defense just sucks, and so you look at games like this where it's like this game could be a barn burner. It really could.
You seen them play against Tampa last week, and Tampa had that game. They had the momentum that Tampa was going to win that game, and somehow Carolina came back and they won. And beyond me how they won that game, but they did.
So yeah, I think Seattle probably takes it, but I don't know, man. It's going to be tough. If I'm betting on it, I'm going to bet Seattle by a touchdown. I'm going to bet a 28-21 kind of game.
Yeah, it's going to be close for me like that too. I'm going to go like 23-14 Carolina. I think Seattle's going to make a good push in the third quarter, get a second touchdown, but I think they're going to be stumped. I think Carolina's defense is going to come up heavy on this one.
I don't know. That receiver's pretty nasty on Seattle, man.
Oh, he's pretty gross.
I think he's up almost at 1,700 yards this season.
All right, fans, here's what we have next.
Toilet bowl.
The toilet bowl. Which team could suck worse to get the last place pick? I'm pulling for the Raiders to suck the worst because we already suck, so let's suck even worse. Hopefully, we can get somebody good in the draft. I don't really see any.
I will say this though,
quarterbacks in the draft.
I seen this kind of cool stat the other day talking about it because the O-line for the Raiders is pretty soft. They're not amazing.
It's pretty banged up.
But I'm pretty sure running back has like 1,100 yards in his rookie season.
All purpose though.
No, I'm just saying all purpose yards, but overall, like. That's pretty nasty for a team that sucks to have a good player doing those things in his rookie season. I mean, if you can get some better supporting cast members over the next couple of years, Brock Bowers stays, you get a quarterback, you get a couple offensive linemen. You don't need a whole 5, but just, get a solid left tackle and a good center man. Like, you potentially could make a bit of a run. I'm not saying Super Bowl champion in the next 2 or 3 years, but like you could be a solid, positive going team and coming up and not being the worst team in the league and fighting for that bottom spot. You get somebody solid. You get a guy that can really throw the ball. You need a new coach. That's a guarantee. You need a new coordinator. That being said, the Raiders are going to kick themselves in the ass, and they're going to win this game.
And it sounds like something the Raiders will do. It just sounds like something the Raiders will do.
It's just in pure Raiders fashion. They're going to win this game. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be like a a 14-10 kind of 17-10 kind of game for the Raiders.
Well, I'm thinking the Giants are going to score 27 points. And again, Raiders are going to get 14 because we're pretty good at getting 14.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
Here's the next question. Who's going to win? And for me, this could be the Super Bowl. This could be, you know what, if both teams pulled their heads out of their asses and got together, like this could be a preview of what the Super Bowl should
It's the same scenario, right? It's the same scenario. Like you have both teams have beat good teams and lost to bad teams on both sides of this. This is the Philly Buffalo game we're talking about, just so you guys know. Both sides of this, they've beaten good teams and lost to bad teams. So you just trying to understand what goes through these coordinators' heads and trying to figure out what they're doing. Now, both of these teams love to play that gritty football game. One has an elite quarterback. One has a run and gun style quarterback. One has a elite defensive line, and one has a really, really solid defensive line. You know, you look at both sides of the ball where there's different things that can happen where, you know, Philly has the strength in the run game. The Bills have the strength in the passing game, but, you know, Jalen Hurts can rock it up when he wants to, and then they can run it with Cook when they want to. So it kind of goes both ways, right? You really don't know what's going to happen in this game. True Eagles fan fashion, I do think we're going to lose this game. I'm not going to lie to you. I know that sounds like a hater thing to say, but I think that the Bills take it 31-28. We're going to win next week against Washington. That's just, they suck. But we're probably going to have our backups in anyway, so who really gives a shit? But I really think that we've already secured the NFC East. It doesn't really matter, but I don't think we're going to win this game. I think 31-28 Bills.
I mean, the Bills are hungry. Like, again, there's no MVP questions. It's guaranteed it's Josh Allen. I mean, if anyone has anything else to say about MVP than Josh Allen, well, then obviously you haven't been watching football this year.
He's a monster.
The guy threw for 3, ran for 3. Happened once out in history. One time in history. And it's not by, I don't even know the guy's name because it happened so long ago. But it was nobody that you would be suspecting. He's no Jalen Hurts or no, you know, Michael Vick or nobody that was a good runner and passer at the same time. I'm agreeing with you on that score. It's going to be a high scoring game, I think, mid score. It's going to hit the over, but I do believe the Buffalo Bills will win this game. I hope not, but I do believe they will. All right, last but not least, this one is going to be, it has the potential to be one of the best games of the season. And I know that Chicago is kind of on a roll. Caleb Williams is doing what we all expected him not to do, which was be a good quarterback when they need him. He's been, you know, boneheady. Like he's a young guy, second year in the league. But
this is game of the week, though, for sure.
Right? He's making the smart choices. He's playing big when they need him to play big. He's not saying he's one of the greats, but the team's supporting him. His defense.
Man, that last drive against Green Bay was nasty.
Last 2 drives.
Nasty.
Like the walk-off touchdown to end the game was just like, what the hell?
Like pressure in his face. He's getting, and just perfect dime to the corner of the end zone.
Right.
Nasty.
Only where he could catch it. You know, Moore was just right there. It's like, oh, hey, here I am. So I'm taking San Francisco in this game just because I know they're trying to win out. I'm thinking 34-29. It's going to be one of those back and forth field goal touchdowns, and 34-29 is where I'm sticking on that one.
I'm going 28-24 for Chicago. I'm taking the Bears in this one. Their defense is disgusting. Their offense is really pushing hard. And, yeah, I think Bears take this one for sure. I disagree with you.
All right. We'll see.
What? No, I was told that we got some more controversies, too. So I was like, oh, yeah. I really do think the Bears are going to take this one, though. Okay. So, you know, that was matchup mayhem. Now we're going to roll into our usual thing we always like to do is our Legends talk. And so this is a guy, you know, monster. Absolute monster. You know, he played a lot of years in the NFL, 7-time Pro Bowl selection, 3-time All-Pro, 125 sacks, 2000s All-NFL team. He's a Pro Football Hall of Famer, one of the most productive pass rushers of his generation, Super Bowl champion with the Colts. If you haven't understood who I'm talking about yet, it is Mr. Dwight Freeney.
Oh.
Dwight Freeney was one of the most influential edge rushers in the NFL. He was not just productive, fundamentally changed how edge rush position was played before Freeney. Pass rush was largely about power and size, and Freeney proved that speed, leverage, timing, and technique could dominate at even the biggest offensive tackle in the league, and he became the gold standard for speed rushers focused on offenses to completely rethink their pass protection. And you're going to ask yourself, what made him different than everyone else? And the big things were spin move. It was nasty. Widely regarded as one of the best spin moves in NFL history. It was perfectly balanced. His footwork, his timing, everything. Offensive tackles knew it was coming. They still couldn't stop it. He was forced to take tackles overset, which opened inside counters. And then that's the next part that comes into it. His first step. First step was just something amazing. His get off was special. Consistently won the first 2 steps of every rep. He forced quarterbacks to shorten their drop because they couldn't drop back because he would loop around. So disruptive with his timing. And when he didn't even record a sack, that's when you knew it was gross because he was pushing that quarterback to really focus up and just huck that ball deep, and they just got to pick off of it because disgusting. He played low. He was explosive. He had that rare pad level for an edge rusher where he would just be almost crawling on the ground low. He used leverage instead of brute strength. He turned speed into power without needing the massive size. His impact on offensive line play, he changed how tackles had to set in pass protection. He forced quicker vertical sets, inside help. He increased the uses of tight ends and chip blocks, slide protections. He made edge rushing a premium position league-wide. And I'll tell you this, you cannot talk about modern pass protection without talking about how Dwight Freeney changed the game. And you know why it still matters today. Technique over size, proof. It's proof, guys. You don't need to be the biggest guy on the field. It's a great lessons for undersized edge rushers at every level. When you can have that skill and that speed, it's going to beat the size. And I'm wrong. Size is awesome, and size can get you far. But speed and skill are what really dominate and take that next level, and precision and discipline. I mean, every move he did had purpose. There was no wasted steps. His film study, his repetition, they were obvious in his play. And his pass rushing, it was art. It was just art. He showed that pass rushing is not just chaos. It's sequencing, it's counters, it's anticipation, it's setting up moves 3 plays in advance, right? You're hitting that rip to swim to ghost rush. You're doing all these different things. You're throwing through. You're just getting skinny in between those lines. You're doing it all. And so if I was able to teach a coaching lesson out of this, it's and again, if you're playing D-line or coaching D-line today, watch some film on this guy. Understand that footwork first, leverage and hand placement are so important. Move progression, not just effort. Dwight Freeney is the blueprint for teaching edge rushers how to think in the game of football. And I'll tell you this right now, the final Legends line is that Dwight Freeney, he did not just beat offensive tackles, but he educated them because he made them get better at their sport and better at their position so they could giant stop him because he was that good.
Hats off to you, man. Hats off to you.
Monster.
I'll tell you, that was one of the first jerseys I ever bought that wasn't a Raiders jersey. I bought his jersey, and I bought Allen's jersey from Minnesota.
Vikings, yep.
Yeah. All right, here we go. We got the good, the bad, and the ugly. And let's start it off with everyone's favorite Christmas present. The Broncos stunned the Chiefs. It was an ugly game. They looked good. Denver outshined. He went into Arrowhead with all the Christmas lights, and Taylor Swift was there, and he still got her done. Broncos defense pressured, the quarterback, and it was just it was good. I mean, Johnson played good, but it was just too late. It wasn't just luck. I think that they're a hungry team. The Broncos weren't very good for the last 4 seasons, and I tell you, they're hungry to make the playoffs, and I'm pretty sure they clinched number 1 today. So let's go with that. Number 2, Jaguars. They keep control of the AFC South. They're 1 win away from winning the AFC South. They beat the Colts tomorrow or on Sunday. It's over. They got it. Trevor Lawrence has protected the ball good in the second half of the season. He didn't look super great, a couple wins there, but there was a couple times during the season where you're just like, is he that good? Like, I cut him off my fantasy team. Let me tell you, by week 10, I was sure pissed that I did that. Late December, division's on the line, and I think the Jaguars aren't going to blink. I think they're going to take that one. And like we were just talking about, the Bills rise in a heavyweight matchup. Without Mahomes being in his way, does Allen finally get a shot? Like the Bills showed playoff testament against elite competition in the past. Their defense is tightened in the second half of the season. They're closing the door a little bit more, and they're looking to be a team expecting to play in January, February, and they want that chip. Now let's go to the bad guys. Chiefs late sloppiness. And I don't know what you guys have been watching, but I've been watching the Chiefs all season because, they're on frickin' every primetime game, and they're on every game that we have to watch 3 years in a row on Christmas. But their red zone inefficiencies this year is what really cost them to miss opportunities. Guys like Kelsey and Rice dropping passes when they shouldn't have been dropping those passes is really the biggest difference for the Kansas City Chiefs this year. They're still dangerous, but they're definitely proved to be beatable, and I believe their dynasty is at a halt. They might have to start over. And let's talk about the next one. I don't know if this one should have been in the ugly, but the Vikings offense just disappeared. Like, how do you win a game on 3 net passing yards? Like, let's be honest. As much as we want it to be a run first game, it'll always be a pass heavy game. Pass gets the most yards. Pass has the most flashiness. But your production issues, they've stalled, killed drives, any momentum. Like, in some games, it doesn't matter who the quarterback was for the Vikings this year. Like, they should have blown teams out of the water. Like, absolutely blown. Like, if they didn't get rid of Dalton, like, come on, they'd be kicking the crap out of people. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And then, like, the next one's, like, I know that I'm a Raiders fan and I'm talking crap about other teams, but I can't sit here and talk crap about my own team week in and week out. So the Jets, they just have zero offensive identity this year. Week 17, they got the Pats. They're going to do nothing against the Patriots. The Patriots they're hungry. Vrabel's got those guys licking chops, man. The Jets, their drives end early. They're 3 and out 90% of their drives. At this point, it's not about wins. It's about unanswered questions on why the Jets are so bad. They got a new coach. Hopefully they stick with him. And then again, I'm going to talk about this in my ugly segment. Inconsistent player safety enforcement. Now, we've been going through this whole season seeing guys get hit in the head, but only when the referee deems that it's a penalty, we get a penalty. Now, me and Preston were watching a bunch of games this season together, and we're far apart, but we still watch some games together. And we'd be sitting watching a game, and we'll watch a guy just get cleaned out in the side of the head, double tackle, and no penalty. But yet the quarterback gets sacked, and the face masks touch, penalty. Hand
Instantly.
comes, quarterback, a hand comes and slaps the side of the head, penalty. But you're telling me a guy running down the field can't get his head to the side enough to get the head out of the game and no penalty? Like, which one's more detrimental to the head injury? Like, a quarterback standing there who touches his face mask, or the guy that's getting ran at full speed stops and just gets plowed through? He's obviously concussed, so that means something hit his head. How there's no penalty? Like, the referee's got to do a better job of that. The same hit gets called one week and ignored the next week. So a DB could be flying down, get smacked in the head from a wide receiver, no penalty. Next week, same thing happens, boom, 15-yard penalty, you get ejected from the game. Like, how, fans don't know the rules, but players don't trust the rules anymore either. So, like, what does that say for, the detriment of the guys getting the head hits? You know what I mean? Like, the referee's got to be a little more consistent about it. It's like we talk about, we need to have replay at all times. So if I'm
100%.
a coach and I see a hit like that, I want to make sure that I can go back and be like, okay, that guy just cleaned my guy out on purpose. I want him getting a penalty because the next one he's getting kicked out of the game, right? And that's for me, that's one of the ugliest things that we've seen all season. All right, next one, Carolina Panthers hit rock bottom. Another blowout, another week of zero resistance, missed tackles, busted coverages, poor execution everywhere. Young players are underdeveloped and they're not developing, but they're just surviving. Now, again, if you were to watch the Carolina Panthers through week 6, you'd have been like, man, this team's making the playoffs. But they have just started to drop the ball, and they're not getting what they need to help their quarterback.
Not at all.
Chuba Hubbard's been banged up. Their other running back's been banged up because Chuba was the backup, and then Chuba had to come in. Obviously, me and Preston are big Chuba guys. But again, he can't do everything. The running backs can't do everything. The quarterback needs to be there. He needs help. And again, like I said, owners, this one's on you. You shouldn't get rid of Vrabel. If Vrabel would have rebuilt that team, he'd have made it better. That one's on you. And last but not least, what happened to the Cowboys?
Jerry Jones.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got a quarterback who's top 5 in everything across the board. Rushing, passing, percentage, touchdowns, completions. And you're telling me that your 2 superstar wide receivers, your decent tight end, and your pretty good running back can't wipe their own butts and make something happen? And you got to remember, too, they just picked up a huge defensive lineman. And let's be honest, the dumbest thing you could have done was to trade away Parsons, but he'd be hurt anyways by now with his ACL injury. But like I'm saying, like, you guys, and again, My team sucks worse, but we're not here to talk about the Raiders right now. But the
Well,
Cowboys should be.
technically, you both didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, but the Cowboys should be embarrassed. Like, I'm not super embarrassed. I'm not paying a quarterback what they're paying a quarterback. We have one franchise player as a defensive end, and that's it. You know what I mean? And, like,
That tight end's pretty goddamn good for the Raiders.
Brock Bowers is one of
Bowers
the best in
pretty
the
nasty.
league. But he's not going to be good if they don't have a consistent quarterback. And what
That's
I'm
true.
trying to say is with the Cowboys, like, guys, it's not a popularity contest. It's whoever wins the Super Bowl is the best team. And if that's not what your owner's about, get a new owner. Like, I'm sick and tired of the teams just awesome. We work for a nonprofit. We can just steal all the money and get paid all this money, but it doesn't matter if we're good. We're selling merch. Like, I don't want to be a merch wearing guy for my whole life. I want to be able to have a ring. I want to be able to say, hey, I got to see the Raiders win a championship, right? It's important to me, man. Like, I've seen them there once. You got to see your team win twice. Be there 3 times. You know what I mean? So it's like fans don't want to be merchandise fans forever.
I don't own a VHS player, so I can't watch the Cowboys.
Exactly. 94 is a long time ago. And that's it for me. Leading off with the grossest.
So, as we always know, Cowboys suck. They're terrible. Tory, I don't know what to tell you about it. They're garbage. And that wraps up the episode of the Hoggie Shuffle. If you're a player listening, take the offseason seriously, guys. This is where your future's built. If you're a coach, invest in yourself, learn more, teach better, and be better. That's what it comes down to. Be better. You can't expect your kids to get better if you're not willing to get any better at all. We appreciate everyone who keeps tuning in, sharing the show, supporting what we're building here. We'll be back soon, as always, with more trench talk. I know we've been inconsistent here lately, back and forth, but we're really trying to get more. Obviously, holidays are tough as well too. Going into the new year, we're going to be trying to get this every week again. Obviously, I know I keep saying that, but we are going to really be pushing to get this every week. Talk more football, getting lost in the shuffle. As always, though, stay square.
Stay nasty.
See you next time.
Dun, dun, dun.